Hey guys, it's Flippin' Nerds here. We're a new channel on YouTube and we're focused on multiple topics ranging from film to video games to manga, anime, pretty much anything that we want to talk about.
And today we're going to be discussing about console wars and how it kind of correlates to fanboyism, if that's even a word. I don't think it is, but that's what we like to talk about, how console wars and even PC or Mac gaming or any of that sorts of the computer area conflicts with everything else, and how now we have exclusives and DLCs, and why we think, in our own opinions, it's just causing this conflict of interest, and we won't have a middle ground where we all can play our own preferred console or PC and still talk and communicate with our friends and play with them and getting away with exclusives because of our preference or fanboyism.
Yeah. We're going to start off with what we think is the best example of the era starting. You can argue that it started out with, Sega and Nintendo back in the late 80s, early 90s. But we want to talk about something dear to our hearts, which is Nintendo 64 versus the PlayStation and versus the PC. This all started when Sony drove away from Nintendo, I do believe, after the Super Nintendo CD, or whatever it's called, went out of production. They completely stopped and Sony developed their own console. PC was already going on for the longest time. You got Oregon Trail on there, you have other games that's been generating, and Nintendo was pretty much one of the heavy hitters in the consoles. So from that point, Sony came into the market with CDs, and this, a lot of people argue, changed the way video games are played.
Because we were so used to the cartridges and everything else, and the CDs also brought not only to the new market to Sony, but also to PC.
Yep.
And that had a great uprising in advanced technologies that Nintendo didn't have the power, but Nintendo had a great... they were just so great in storytelling and just making a game. And PC, they were getting there too, especially when they hit Half-Life, that people still hold dear and play today.
Yep. The thing is with Nintendo that I feel like is the biggest thing that still to this day keep them on top of the game with their exclusives is their mascots. I mean, you talk to a random person and mention Mario or Donkey Kong for crying out loud. Donkey Kong's come up to 40 years from the arcade, so a lot of people, identify with them a little more versus Crash Bandicoot, which is nothing wrong with Crash Bandicoot or Half-Life.
Or other mascots that, like with, Sonic the Hedgehog. I remember that I was reading about that on Game On by Dustin Hedson, that the gaming companies were trying to compete with Nintendo because they were dominating at that time, and they were looking for a mascot because that's what really sells consoles and stuff, exclusives again, and they made Sonic the Hedgehog, and that Sega, that made it huge, but then eventually died down.
It's kind of crazy to think how this era changed gaming for what is like ever. So from this point, you have Final Fantasy VII being exclusive to PlayStation due to the cartridge use that Nintendo would have had. I remember reading something online, don't know where it's at exactly, but Final Fantasy VII worked for PlayStation because it was disc-based and they had a number of discs. I think it was like 3 or 4, I may be wrong, I never really got into it. But to generate it the way they wanted it on Nintendo 64, it would have had over like 8 cartridges. So they
were able to compress all that memory, and so that way people can play more of it. Because that would be kind of a hassle, switching cartridges after cartridges just to play the freaking game.
Imagine if it was like 30 of them, just every hour. That'd be awful. But from that point on, I don't know if a lot of people know, I think it's 2000, may have been 1999. Anyways, Sega was actually competing against Nintendo and Sony and didn't actually fare too well against them. Sony and Nintendo had such a great run, and the battle between their exclusives were very high end. Obviously, Sony sold more, but Nintendo had a lot. It seemed like almost everybody we knew and their mothers had a Nintendo 64 in their household. Those weird controllers that everybody... I don't know how people played on them personally, like looking back at it. But, you know, we played the PlayStation 2 when that came out. Our older brother, he got a PlayStation 2, I do believe, for, I think it was getting straight A's. Our mom bought it for him and us. And we were hooked. Like, we had some of the best memories on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of people back then. I know PS2, well, Nintendo 64 sold a lot, and so did PS2. I can't remember who won that. I want to say PS2 because in history it's still sold out. I think that still holds today. Maybe PS4 beat that, but I haven't looked into it again. So again, I don't know. But at the time, everybody was just getting, and we got both of them anyway, back to back. And honestly, we played both. Actually, yeah, both of them at the same time. And I can't remember if we played the PlayStation 2 more or Nintendo.
I would say we played the 64 a lot until Budokai came out.
Budokai, yeah.
Budokai was like the one thing, and even though we're young, Grand Theft Auto Vice City and San Andreas.
That was a great Grand Theft Auto.
Yep. Those were the things that kind of strayed us away from the 64. But then that's the time when the game changed completely. You know, at this time you had three sources of gaming going on against each other, which is the PlayStation, Nintendo, and PC. At this time, Bill Gates announced the Xbox, and that changed up the game completely. At first, a lot of people don't know this, but Apple was trying to produce Halo.
Oh, yeah.
And that was going to be a big game. It was going to be a completely different game than what it is today.
So we are starting to see some great games come back to the Mac, but this is one of the coolest I've ever seen. This game is going to ship early next year from Bungie, and this is the first time anybody has ever seen it. It's the first time they've debuted it. And so I'm very happy to welcome on the stage Jason Jones, who is the co-founder of Bungie and the Halo project lead. Halo is the name of this game, and we're going to see, for the first time, Halo. Welcome, Jason. Thanks, Steve. Yep.
So, our game's called Halo, and like Steve said, nobody's seen it before. This is the first time we've ever showed it in public. Halo's an action game, so you'll be able to play it by yourself. Even better, be able to get on the internet, play it with your friends online. Our multiplayer games can be heavily focused on cooperative team play rather than playing as an individual. QuickTime's really cool, but what I'm about to show you is not a QuickTime movie. Everything you're about to see is being rendered in real time on a Macintosh using OpenGL.
Steve Jobs wanted to get into the gaming market because he seen that there was a good amount of money generating at that time, and yeah, he wanted to capitalize on that.
Then Bill Gates comes out of nowhere like a ninja and takes that away from him. And Halo is born, and Xbox is, getting out there. And at this time, I do believe Rare's still working with Nintendo, but is about to leave Nintendo to go with them. A lot of things are going on that are changing up the, atmosphere of the gaming community. There's this new system that came out of nowhere, and within that time period as well, PlayStation was introducing a sort of online service with the PlayStation 2. SOCOM was able to be played, I do believe. Final Fantasy 11. But at this time, Xbox was working on their online service as well with the release of Halo 2. This changed up everything. Nintendo did not focus on online services as much. I think there was some things you can do online with the GameCube, but this is what changed the whole atmosphere of gaming, I feel like. This introduction to Microsoft's Xbox. PlayStation 2 is holding its own still, though.
Yeah, and with Halo 2, well, with the Halo franchise coming out, that made exclusives even stronger, and that made it like, yeah, we're still going to continue on this path, and instead of straying away from it, we're just going to continue on that path of having mascots and stuff. And I'm all for mascots, but like at the same time, we're having more exclusives and consoles. I mean, who knows, in 2018 there could be another console that comes out. It's hard to say it because we're so attached to our Sony and Nintendo and all that
Microsoft
stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
But who's to say that Steam, because I know I think they did come out with a console, but other companies are trying to come out with consoles and stuff. But seriously, who's to say there's another mascot that comes out with a certain type of computer device or even a console that everybody wants to play? The new Halo, the new God of War, you know what I mean?
CD Projekt Red announces that they're like, we've made the new console for our new game.
And it's hard to believe that now because we're so attached and everything's just been going on like this for a past, decade? More than a decade, almost 2 decades. But seriously, it could be time for another mascot to come out for a certain, like PC. They could have a mascot that would be memorable, and everybody's just now going to start going PC because of that certain mascot. I just like what Rocket League and other games like Minecraft are trying to do. They're trying to unite all of them so we all can play together, and they've been pushing for that a good while.
Yeah. The only thing that's been the problem with that is, and it's unfortunately Sony, but I mean, you never know, they can come around. I'm hopeful that they'll come around, and I'm not saying that they're the bad guys in the situation, but when they do decide to come around, it's gonna change everything. Because I mean, at this current time, I heard that you could play cross-platform with like PC and Xbox and Rocket League. Minecraft, you can do something like that coming soon with the Switch. But the online services is a big staple of it. Nintendo is actually about to put out their online service for $20 a year.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy to think that PlayStation and Xbox is what started it, and I mean, you can argue PC has it right. You know, you don't have to pay anything, you get what you get. But I mean, I understand why these consoles have it. You know, it's kind of helping, I do believe, pay for like the security and everything, and there is benefits to having these online services too with the free games.
Mm-hmm. You also got to remember that here in 2018, it's becoming more necessary to have a computer nowadays for many things I'm not going to really get into now, but yes, we still play consoles because it's kind of tradition, because at the time, PC wasn't really not there yet, you know, with consoles and whatnot, and PC wasn't even drifting towards that per se too much, you know. But as years keep going and escalating, even today, more and more gamers are jumping onto this uprising in PC gaming because of the hardware. The hardware is becoming way more powerful. You can modify it. You can, you know, have mini designs to your towers and stuff, and it's quite fun to build your own PC. I've built my own PC too, and it's getting to a point where gamers might drift towards a PC world, or maybe it won't, because we like the consoles. I have, you know, one myself too, obvious, and we still like playing the game exclusives for our loved ones, with friends and family, and meeting new people and whatnot, and we just enjoy having consoles and PC, and it might be like that for a while. And even myself, I kind of want to go PC sometimes too, because you do get free online service. You don't have to pay the freaking $60 a year, or sometimes less, but still, you know, it's not like you're tied down or enslaved to a service. But the good thing about having a service is you get continued updates. You get all these other features that you probably want to get on your PC unless you do it to yourself. To me, PC seems more like a self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And consoles just more like, here's everything for you as long as you're willing to pay.
Which, I mean, even the silver members, I feel like, are kind of blessed in a way with the services. But the thing is, the way I look at it, they've been trying to make it more beneficial throughout the years. Because a lot of people have been complaining, like, hey, why can't I get something free with it? And I mean, Xbox and PlayStation, they give out games. It feels nowadays that they've got the service right. And there's a rumor going around that Nintendo online service will be like an arcade of games. No one knows what it's going to be exactly, but it's just crazy to think how, I want to say about 30 years coming up in 3 years, because that's how old I'm going to be. Sad face. 30 years ago, no one thought about this. No one thought that this would ever happen with video games.
Yeah, I know. Especially when Atari was dying, they thought when Atari was gonna die, they thought that was gonna be the end. That was it. Like, this is it. Oh, it was fun while it lasted. You know, because the ultimate game crash was happening especially with ET. Oh. But then Nintendo with, was it Miyamoto? Miyamoto, he invented this new concept of playing a game, and that's, you know, derived from storytelling and everything else with good game design, and that's what really pushed and uplift the uprising of gaming, and it still holds to that today, as you can see in the new Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It still has the same fundamentals.
He did really good producing that. He wasn't game director, but he knew what he wanted to tell.
Yeah, and then he also added on to with Mario Odyssey. I heard it still has the fundamentals to a original Mario game, like Nintendo 64 Super Mario.
The original Dream Team is Miyamoto and Iwata. Those two, I feel like, are what changed gaming for what we know today. And
yeah.
It's funny because you have all these. The reason why we made this video is because fanboys it's irrelevant, you know. Like, it should just be like it's your preference, you know. Like,
with every generation,
there's always
it's becoming irrelevant. I mean, it's becoming more and more, because if you talk to like an average gamer, he might be a fanboy, but most of them are open up. They're open to the idea, like, yeah, I kind of like wish that I can play with my friends from Xbox or from PlayStation or even from Nintendo or PC, you know, all of them, and still have my exclusives or perhaps not, and share them. And, you know, I get the pride into it. I was like that when I was young. Like, oh, I have Xbox, I got Halo, and no one else has it except my friends, and I want everybody to convert to. It's just kind of like an ideology. I want my group of people
believe to be the others.
Yeah, be the others, because it's so easy to communicate with one another because we don't got no conflicts, you know. And I get it. There's like a sense of comfort in there, and like
sense of pride,
and everybody's like happy and good to go. You know, you got all your ethnic groups and stuff, but it's kind of nonsense when it comes to games, because games, it's like it can be a competition, it can be for fun, like you just dance for fun, you know. It can be recreational, it can be for
VR
a lot of
chat.
Things. VR chat, yeah.
The one thing I think about, like, the one thing I felt that got me out of becoming a fanboy was actually, I remember we were over in Germany and Halo 4 just came out. And I remember going over to one of my buddies' houses. We were talking, his name's Mike. We were just talking about games and stuff like that. And actually, it's Master Chief Collection. We're just talking about games and stuff like that. And we're just like, you know, the one thing that's interesting is no one's talking about Super Smash Brothers. Because, like, I don't know where it came from. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I miss Super Smash Brothers. And it just kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, yeah, I miss Crash Bandicoot. And I was like, you know what? All these consoles are good. They all have their, like, strong points. And there's nothing wrong to like each of them. And PC, I mean, like, I haven't owned a powerful PC in my life, but I've been able to play Battlefront 2 on my PC, and I've enjoyed it. but my thoughts on the fanboy thing is it's garbage. It's the type of thing to where everybody should kind of look and be happy for the other.
It's really just nonsense, fanboyism. That's what I'm calling it. But I can understand if you want to debate and converse with one another about which has more powerful hardware, and like, yeah, like I prefer Xbox, and I realize it has power on this, part of the console, and then you have the other guy that's like, well, with PS4, it has more RAM than the Xbox, and I understand that sense if you want to debate about it. Or like PC, obviously PC is always going to be the winner. I mean,
I have 64 gigs of RAM.
You can just keep upgrading it and stuff, and even fanboys know that. Like, they really do know, like, yeah, PC has better hardware. I mean, it's just...
That's why they codenamed it PC Master Race.
PC Master Race.
I just feel like it's something that all these... It's not necessarily, like, the people that are doing this. I feel like it's, like, sometimes, like, companies that do this.
Oh, yeah, companies thrive on that because that's where they make the money. I mean...
Read our article. We discovered why Xbox has a missing piece in their Scorpio.
Well, that's also due to freelancer journalists, too. They go out there and make articles, and they get paid for it, too. Or they're trying to make a living or get experience from journalism. And to me, it's like the old American history's yellow journalism. We still have that today, obviously. But it just blows my mind that these companies, too, are trying to feed it. And people are buying into it. I mean, it should be just buy what you want. I mean, heck, there's people that own all four. PS4, PC, some ultra freaking amazing PC, Xbox, and probably the Xbox One X enhanced,
And Switch.
Switch 2, they probably have Wii U. I mean, there's people like that all over that owns all of it to, get it.
All in all, I just feel like kind of need to grow up. Like some of these people, I mean, like they can have pride, but I remember working at a call center, and I remember just going outside to kind of relax. There was some people that got in my face who were like, "Oh, Sony, you get free stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, PC can get free stuff too, right?" "No, you can't." "Yeah, Steam. There's a lot of free stuff. VR chat's there."
And now games, they have chat within the video game too.
Yeah, but it's a fundamental that people should just kind of look at and try to move forward with. That's my opinion on the situation.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if honestly, society, if we wanted to have one console and we all, like, let's say, bought into PC, that would kill the consoles and we'd all be at PC. But I understand not everybody wants PC because not everybody is
comfortable with the keyboard.
Yeah, they're not comfortable with the keyboard, but it is getting to a point where there is other companies trying to sell consoles that mimic Xbox controllers, that mimic PlayStation, even Nintendo controllers.
Remember the Ouya?
The Ouya?
Yeah. Do you know what the Ouya is?
I don't think I remember that.
It's an Android console that came out, and it was, I hate to say it, utter garbage. Like, you couldn't do really anything. It was basically playing your mobile games on your TV. But, like, these are, like, imagine, how, like, sometimes it looks like it's 60 FPS on your phones?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that the drop rate being, like, 20 FPS.
Oh,
yeah, you want to play that Joyride game? No, you don't. But all in all, I feel like all consoles and PC should be against mobile gaming.
Oh, I hate mobile gaming. It's like the worst of the worst.
Pokemon Go is the only exception, so is Animal Crossing. But they're both Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo's a good company.
I trust Nintendo.
I do too. I know sometimes they have their, like, moments, but so does other companies too.
Like, a lot of people are upset about that Labo thing. Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. People are like, "You're paying this much for cardboard." I'm like, bro, you pay 60 for the game and you get the cardboard. You can do a lot of things with that cardboard. You could be a robot with that cardboard, man. It's like I get to go back in time.
That's one thing I love about Nintendo is they're always innovative. Even it just seems to amaze me every time, even today in 2018. Like, what the hell are they going to do in 2019, 2020? Like,
this year's just started, man.
I know.
Like, they're going to announce something that's going to blow our mind. Super Smash Brothers 5. No. Yeah, 5. And that they're going to be like, and yeah, we've partnered up with both Sony and Microsoft and PC, and we're bringing the best characters from all of them. Be like, thank you. So basically, in conclusion with this, I just want to say, on behalf of both of us, we're not fanboys. We believe that there should be great diversity within the game community. Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you like PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. It's all good. And on behalf of us, we're excited to see what's to come E3 this year. But
most definitely.
We're going to wrap this up. Again, thank you so much for giving us a listen, and share some suggestions down in the comments or email us at the email down in the link. And my name is Nick.
I'm Dakota.
And this is the Flippin' Nerds,
where we talk about nerdy crap.
Sayonara.
So thank you, and stay tuned for the next episode.